Hi, this is John Sandler from UNLV, and just want to say how sorry I am and all of us at UNLV are to hear about Lawrence. Obviously, an institution at San Jose State and, of course, in the Bay Area. I had heard about Lawrence for years when I was working up there, and it was an honor and a pleasure to meet him. And he is certainly going to be missed, the most conscientious and dedicated SID I've ever seen, and deepest condolences.
Hey, it's Jim Arthur with Air Force Basketball. I was so saddened to hear the news about Lawrence Fan. I just saw him 3 weeks ago, and he was typical Lawrence. He had some great stories to tell. He had fan cake. He was willing to do anything and everything to help me and help my broadcast. And a lot of people don't know it, but he was a shrewd stock investor. He did very well and had some great investment tips. What a blow and what a loss. Lawrence, we will certainly miss you. Godspeed.
I was saddened to hear of the news of Lawrence's passing. Lawrence was a tremendous SID and a great ambassador for San Jose State. Whenever you'd come down there for a game with the Spartans, you knew you were going to be treated first class by Lawrence. He was also a great Giants fan as well. And when I think back to Lawrence and San Jose State, when I think of a GOAT at a particular school, most times I think of a player or a coach, but at San Jose State, Lawrence Fan was the GOAT.
I don't remember the first time I met Lawrence Fan. He came to San Jose State when my dad was the play-by-play voice of the Spartans in 1980, and I think I was 2 years old. So I don't remember when I first met Lawrence, but I grew up knowing him. He was my dad's friend, and he was always really nice to me, even as a kid, as he would be, because he was Lawrence. He was just great to everybody. And it was a real point of joy in my family when I began to work with Lawrence every time Nevada would play San Jose State. It was a family thing. And it is an incredible shock and so sad that we won't see him again. And to everybody in the San Jose State family, my family knows how just unimaginable this loss is, and we all will miss Lawrence very much, and we will cherish him and our time we shared and his incredible decency and just what a joy he was, and he will never be forgotten.
I had never met Lawrence, and when the football team was coming down here, he called me and he said he was announcing if I needed anything to call him. And I didn't need anything, so I didn't call him. And I hadn't met him. So he sees me at the football game and he says, "You're Ted Leitner, how come you didn't call me back?" And he wasn't kidding. He was not kidding. "How come you didn't call me back?" "Well, Lawrence, you said if I needed anything to call you back." "I didn't need anything. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go." You know, if someone calls you, you have the courtesy to call them back. I just laughed and thought, and I just, after I laughed out loud, I said, "Lawrence, you're not my father." And he said, "If I was, you would have known to call me back." That was such a great line. And we became such fast friends. This was a wonderful, wonderful man. And I am stunned, and I will miss him the rest of my life.
I only knew Lawrence for about 5 years. Many people knew him for 30, 40 years, but he was always so accommodating. When I got the Utah State job 5 years ago and our first trip to San Jose, he knew everything about me. He knew what we needed. He was so accommodating and so nice. Every time we made the trip to San Jose, every time San Jose State came to Logan, he'll be sorely missed. What a tremendous man. What a tremendous person. We love him at Utah State, and our thoughts certainly with the San Jose State family and Lawrence's family as well.
I feel so fortunate to have been able to see Lawrence on Sunday before he passed. He was smiling. He was working two sports like he always does, doing the thing that he loves. The fan cake was incredible. He's cooking some right now, somewhere, and I know it's perfect. I learned so much from him. One of the all-time great human beings. 25 years a friend, a colleague. Lawrence, love you, man. Rest in peace.
You know, I'll always remember Lawrence Fan as somebody who was passionate and professional about his job and a man who had a genial personality. You know, whenever you play San Jose State in football, The week leading up to the game, you get a phone call from Lawrence Fan. Just checking in, making sure you had all the information you needed to make your broadcast a good one. It's the way he treated all the media. Then, of course, once you got to San Jose, be it football or basketball, you have a piece of fan cake right there waiting for you, and it was always delicious. Lawrence Fan was truly a unique man, one of a kind, and he will be missed.
Well, I know it's not quite Lawrence Fan gray, it's Fresno State Navy in red, but I had to wear the vest in honor of Lawrence. One of those little idiosyncrasies, the things we all knew about him and loved. You've heard about the fan cakes. I think we all heard him tell us at one point some crazy piece of Spartan trivia like Crazy George competed on the judo team. He knew it all, but he appreciated it all, and he knew why it mattered, and he knew that people mattered. I think that was the greatest attribute that Lawrence Fan had. Whether you were the big-time network TV guy coming in to announce a game, or you were calling your first Spartan game ever for the student radio station at KSJS, he was going to treat you with the same level of respect, the same professionalism, even make you feel like $1 million with some superlative nickname like the magnificent Sid Fong or the stupendous Justin Allegri, or I don't even know what he called me, but I call him the inimitable Lawrence Fan because there will never be another one. There will never be anyone quite like Lawrence. He gave everything he had to the university, to the profession. What a powerful example of professionalism, of kindness. And while we can't replace him, we can all try to live up to that example. I know that's what I'm going to try to do. So on behalf of all of us, thanks to Lawrence Fan for showing us how it's done. And thank you, San Jose State, for sharing such a special person with the rest of us.
It's Kevin Richardson, the color analyst for San Jose State football. Definitely a sad week for San Jose State athletics this week with the loss of our dear friend, Lawrence Fan. For the last 14 years as a member of the broadcast crew, I always appreciated how Lawrence would have us ready to broadcast. There wasn't a name, a number, a stat, or a backstory that was left out. We always had the information to make us successful on the call. And while I appreciate those things, I realize now that's not what I'll miss about Lawrence Fan. What I'll miss about Lawrence Fan is what made Lawrence Lawrence. Things like if you're on a road trip and he says, we're leaving tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for the game, if you're not in the lobby by 8:30, he's going to give you a call and ask why you're late. I'll also miss talking about the great teams of the 80s, quarterbacks like Mike Perez, big mean offensive linemen like John Amenetti and David Diaz-Infante, and of course great receivers like Lafu Malaulu. I think I got that name right. It's too bad Lawrence isn't here to correct me. But the thing that I will miss the most is that Lawrence was a professional in sports media. In an era where we all throw on an Adidas pullover and there's not a tie to be found in the press box, Lawrence was a guy who still wore a suit to do his job. He respected the print media, the broadcast media, the coaches, and most importantly, the players. In football, we always respect the guy who does his job and leads by example. That's exactly who Lawrence was. He arrived early, he stayed late, he dressed the part, and he gave 100% of his ability. I can't tell you how much I will miss Lawrence this fall when Spartan football cranks up again. You were a great leader, a great role model, and the football world will miss not having you around. My best.
It's really hard to describe what Lawrence meant to this university and to the media members in the Bay Area and across the country. You know, most media members had the pleasure of working with him maybe once, twice a year, maybe once or twice every 5 years. And I had the pleasure of working with him every day. And I can't tell you how much his dedication to his craft helped me and has helped others throughout the years. And to give you one example, the last game I worked with Lawrence was the New Mexico home game for San Jose State. And Jalen House was playing on New Mexico, and his father, Eddie, was on the telecast for CBS. And Lawrence comes walking over to me with a box score from an Arizona State, San Jose State game in the 90s where Eddie House played against the Spartans. And he says this was the last time that Eddie House had anything to do with the San Jose State men's basketball game. And it wasn't just a printout box score, it was a photocopy, which means that Lawrence had to go into the archives and into the file cabinets that are in the back and rifle through all these box scores, find it, pull it out, photocopy it, and then he highlighted it and wrote some notes on there for me. And that's just how dedicated he was to service, which was the word he always used, to providing the best service possible to the media. Probably took him an hour and a half, and he knew I was going to talk about it maybe for 30 seconds, but that's just who he was, and I'll dearly miss that, and I'll dearly miss seeing him in the office every day.